Good Sunday morning. It's another sunny, slightly hazy morning. I think the haze will wear off after the sun is up for a little bit. I'm here on 7th Street at the intersection of 7th and L Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. We're going to take a detailed look at this block here. That guy's going way too fast. This is block number 450, 0450 in Washington, D.C. It's one of those blocks that has a wonderful mix of new construction with preserved historic architecture. So to get your bearings, we are right across the street from the massive Washington, D.C. Convention Center. The convention center spans several blocks. It's really huge. It's hard to get in a shot. From an architectural perspective, not really worth getting in the shot. This is the block that we're concerned with here. Brought the map and a lot of notes. So we'll take a look at every structure on this block. We'll go around the block and then we'll head down to Chinatown, a few blocks south of here. This one on the corner, what I'll do is I'll kind of do my usual zigzag across the street. This building on the corner here, this is number 1035. It says 1033. Okay. It's probably 1035 and 1033. So the very corner here is 1035, built in 1914. This was, the architect was McNeil and McNeil, built by the builder Whitney. It was originally built, believe it or not, as a residence, which is shocking due to the facade, which may or may not be the historic facade. It's also possible that the record's not correct. But the record does say it was an apartment residence owned by J.R. Sherwood in 1914. Quite interesting. We'll head our way across the street. I'll go a little slowly because of the sun glaring off the huge building. This massive office building here consumes most of this block, right? It sits atop these historic buildings. It sits behind the historic buildings. But the builder took great care to preserve either the historic buildings on this block or the facades of those buildings. So this is really a wonderful example of historic preservation. This building kind of, sits on top, and you'll see the modern structures filtering into the cracks in between the historic structures. Hi, who am I? We're in Washington, D.C. I'm on the corner of 7th Street and L Street, and we're taking a look at the historic architecture on one block just across from the Washington, D.C. Convention Center. Hello, Rip. Very nice to meet you. All right, I'm going to carefully cross the street while it is safe so to do. And I apologize for walking fast across streets for obvious reasons. And we'll take a look as I can, get away from the sun, try not to shoot into the sun. Good morning. Oh, hi, 1967 Ford Mustang. Oh, that sounds awesome. And good morning, Warren. All right, this should be a good spot with no sun. Whoop, nope, it's not. Try again. This should be a good spot with no sun. So there's two buildings on the corner we were looking at. The one on the very end, 1035. And then 1033 is not a historic structure. It's relatively new construction built to look like a historic structure. So I think that's kind of cool. This one, however, this is 1027 7th Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. This was architected by David Stern. The builder was Alan Minnick. It was built in 1938, and you might guess what it was built to be. I swear they all look the same. This was a furniture store built in 1938. I swear furniture stores all look the same with the marble-esque outline above the door. It has a little bit of an Art Deco feel to it. Hey, good morning, Big Take. Hi, Zaw. Nice to meet you. Warren, great to see you from Texas. That's fantastic. Daphne, good morning. Good morning, good morning. You like David Bowie? I like David Bowie. Hello, Shivjinjar. Very nice to meet you. But you can see, again, if you can peek over this building that we're looking at today, you can see that brand new, well, relatively new, massive office structure above it. I don't mind that. I don't mind it because the builder preserved all of these beautiful buildings and the facades around this entire block. You're from England in the military as a truck driver. Awesome. Well, thank you for your service. Hi, Cullen. This is live. Hello, Cullen. We are in Washington, D.C. We're going to walk around this block, and then we're going to head down to Chinatown. All right. So the next one, right next to 1027, you can tell, furniture store. This little one, again, not an historic structure. So you can see the address on this building is a little strange. It says 655 New York Avenue, but we're on 7th Street. So how is that? Well, that massive office building atop there is headquartered. The main entrance is on New York Avenue down there. So the little bits of new building that come through in between the historic architecture are all 655 New York Avenue. It is so confusing. Ooh, that's obnoxious. It is so confusing, I guess, to visitors, but it's really interesting when you think about this big modern structure that kind of fit its way in between all these historic structures. The next one where you see, once the bus moves away, yeah, we have these big double-sized buses here in Washington. As soon as it moves, we'll get a better view. And that'll be number 1023. And I don't have any information on 1023. The historic record had nothing. The website is called DC History Quest. It's a wonderful website, but it gets its information. Man, it's a loud morning. It gets its information from historic publications, and there was nothing on this one, so we don't know. We do know it was a historic structure. It's not new, but I don't have any information on it. And that guy just did not care. Good morning, Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Good to see you. Hello, Hamed. This next one, however, this one doesn't leave anything to chance. The H. Rupert Building, built in 1890. This is 1021 7th Street. And the owner and developer was H. Rupert. Doesn't say what it was used for, but some kind of business, I'm sure, was there. But certainly it's helpful to have the date on the top of the building there. Good morning. Wow, a lot of people online this morning. I love it. The next one here, and you can see each one's slightly different, which lends to variety. This next building, 1019 7th Street. This was built by Joseph Strecker. It's a brick structure. We have some information about the roof here. Tin roof, flat tin roof, owned by Mr. Okay, you get this one right. Oxtenreiter. So this building was owned by Mr. Oxtenreiter, and we don't have a date on this one, but I'm going to guess the late 1800s as well for this one. Hi, Habib. Hello, Alibaba. Oh, you'd be very disappointed, Alibaba. Let's move on to 1017. This is another one, this little one that is currently home to Pearl's Bagels. Lovely Pearl's Bagels. Don't have any information on it. I know it does certainly sound very German. Pearl's Bagels. I don't have information. I'm going to guess late 1800s on this one too. And then this one, it says 1015 and a half. We'll call it 1050. Well, there are two doors. That's why. Okay. So there's two doors, one to the upstairs and one to the ground floor. But 1015 was built in 1888. And you can see at the top of the building, oh, there's a surprise. At the top of the building, 1888, Isaac Levi or Levy and Son. So it's great that that's been preserved. And Isaac Levy and Son. Whoop. I'm gonna back up just a wee bit. The building was architected by J.G. Myers. It was built by John J. Shane. It's a brick structure, obviously, and it has a flat tin roof. And it has been beautifully preserved here. Welcome, everybody. Wow, so many people up very early on a Sunday morning. It's great to have you all here on this walking tour. We're on 7th Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. We're going to circle this historic block, which has been preserved, and then we're going to head down 7th Street to Chinatown today. These next buildings, don't have information on this one, unfortunately. But this also looks like late 1800s, maybe early 1900s on these. Brick with an obvious storefront that's been preserved. We have the mix going from the top of the block here with brick. Then we have some painted brick, beige and then blue. The next two, I also don't have any information on. Our historic record, the one that I use, is DC History Quest. It pulls information from property records and newspaper filings and aggregates them for researchers like me. I'm going to guess, because this has a very similar feel to the 1888 structure over there, that this is the late 1800s too, probably about the same time, maybe even the same architect. This one's for lease. So this is in a really great area, right across the street. We're right across the street from the DC Convention Center, which is massive, by the way. The Washington, D.C., I mean, it's huge, absolutely huge. Now we'll take a look at this beautiful one on the corner. Home to Capital Burger. Capital Burger, great burgers. Seriously, do try Capital Burger. Hi, Kevin. Kevin, we're in Washington, D.C. We are right now at the corner of 7th Street and New York Avenue. We're taking a look at this very historic block. We're going to go around the block. We're going to head to Chinatown. But I'm going to wait for the traffic for a safe opportunity to cross the street. Maybe I'll cross it now. This is always not a good idea. Good morning, everyone. So taking a better look at some of the detail on some of these structures. And then a glimpse up the block here. It's a wonderful example of historic preservation. I know I repeat myself over and over again when I say that, but Washington, D.C. has some really, really nice examples where new construction has been blended almost seamlessly in with the old buildings. So we're turning the corner here onto New York Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C. Hi, Odilon. Very nice to meet you. Hello, Lou. Kevin, we just need to be aware of our surroundings. It can be dangerous. Ashley, hey, good morning, Ashley. I hope you're well. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Flower boxes are still going and thriving here in Washington, and they do look quite beautiful. The next building here, this Live Nation office, is all part of this building, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna guess late 1800s because I don't have a specific record on this one. And this one as well. And I think, some of the other blocks where I've had information on who owned it and who built it and who lived there, the high society addresses, there's more information about them because they're written in the society columns. And the database I use draws from all of those, not just the property records. So those homes have more information because they had parties and balls, and these buildings that were commercial or warehouses or, other mercantile places don't have too much information on some blocks. So this is 649 New York Avenue. Again, I'm going to guess mid to late 1800s on this one. But here you can also get a really good view of that newer construction that blends this it kind of holds this entire block together. And I like to think, and I know for sure in this case, that if this office building were not here, it would be possible that none of these historic buildings would still be here. So this is an example where new construction has helped to preserve the old stuff. And we're glad of that. This is also really close to, obviously, a number of office buildings, but relatively new apartment buildings in this area. It's a good place to be. I'm sorry, I'm gonna angle this because I'm shooting into the sun just for a minute until I get under these trees. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Davyverse, good morning. Hi, John. Hello, Los and No and Master Pilot. Yeah, I know, right? Good well, we're gonna talk about a warehouse that became a really good party venue right up the street here. I'm gonna try to find I'm gonna cross over because I think I'll get the best view of this block. Unfortunately, there are some cars parked here